video on the surface area of prisms. And we already know what area is. Area is when we get the area of a two-dimensional figure. So with surface area, we're going to get the area of a three-dimensional figure. And we'll just do prisms today. So the first thing we should know is what is a prism? Well, I can draw a prism down here. Let's move this down. We can do a hexagonal prism. So we make a hexagon. It's the first thing we do. There you go, hexagon. There we go. And then we can create a 3D hexagon. And there we go. There's our hexagonal prism. So I'll write it here. Hexagonal prism. So that's a prism. And there's other prisms. There's pentagonal prisms. There's rectangular prisms and so forth. So this hexagonal prism has shapes, right? It has faces. So here are the faces, right? So we want to get the area of all the faces. And we're going to start with a rectangular prism. All right, so here's our rectangular prism. Now, how many faces do you think this rectangular prism has? When I say faces, I mean sides. So right now we know there's a front. This is the front. That's a one face. This is the right. Put an R for right. And we have a top. Right? So if we have a front, a top, and a right, we should have a bottom. We should have a back. And we should have a left. So there's 6 sides. 6 sides, which we call faces. And if you remember, we talked about that each point where the 2 lines meet is a vertex. Here's a vertex. And do you remember the plural for vertex? Vertices. So how many vertices do you think this rectangular prism has? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the bottom there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't see the other one. So the total of 8 vertices. 6 faces. 6 sides. Let's fix that 6. There we go. 6 faces, 8 vertices. And again, we have a top, a right, a front, and then we also have a left, a back, and a bottom. So now let's see if we can get the area of this rectangular prism. Alright, so here's our measurements. 10 is the length, the width is 5, and the height is 4. And we'll just say units. So let's get the area of each face. So we do know we have a front. What's the area of the front? It's 10 by 4, right? If that's 4, this has to be 4. This has to be 4. This has to be 10. If that's 5, this has to be 5, right? So the face, again, is 10 by 4. The face is 40 units squared. And by the way, if the face is 40 units squared, that means the back is 40 units squared. Right? It's the same thing as the front, right? So then we also have a left. What do you think the left and the right are? 4 by what? By 5. And what's that? It's 20. So if the left is 20, the right side is 20. So we're missing 2 more. The top and the bottom. So what do you think the top is? It's 10 by 5. The top is 50. So that means the bottom is 50. So now all we have to do is add all this up, and we have our surface area. What do you think it is? Well, on this side it's 110, and on this side it's 110, so we have 220 units. So the surface area equals, we'll bring it up here, lift that up a little, there we go. It's going to be 220 units squared. 220 units squared. And remember, area is always squared. So we know then if we had wrapping paper, let's say we're going to wrap this gift, we need 220 units squared of wrapping paper. Let's say it was centimeters, we need 220 centimeters squared. Actually, we probably want a little more because it's sometimes difficult to wrap a present, right? So what do we have here? This is not a prism. It's a pyramid, right? We all know pyramids. One thing you should know about pyramids is that every face on a pyramid is a triangle, except one, right, the bottom. But sometimes you can get a pyramid that has a triangular base. So remember, when only one or less, if one face is not a triangle, only one, or none, then it's a pyramid. Because if you go back to this prism, there is no triangles, so we know it's a prism. So, we know how to get the area of a triangle. Just in case you forgot, it's half the base times the height. So here we need to know the height. This, by the way, is a square pyramid. We know it's square because it's 8 on all sides. So if we put this dotted line, that means we can find the height of the pyramid. Or I can put a dotted line here too, doesn't matter. So let's say we say that the height of this pyramid is 5. First of all, we should know, how many faces do we have? Well, we have a front side and a back side, and a left and a right. So we have 4 triangles, and then we have one base. That's a square. One square. So we have 5 faces. How many vertices do you think we have? So we have 5 faces, but how many vertices? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 in the back we can't see. 5 vertices. So what do you think the surface area of this is? Let's take one triangle first. What is the area of the front triangle? Well, half the base is 4. 4 times the height is 5 is 20. 80 units squared, right? Plus the square now is 8 times 8 is 64. We got to add 64 to it. And that will give us our total surface area. Right? So the total surface area is 144 units squared. Bring that down so you see it. There we go. So we did the surface area of a rectangular prism. Did the surface area of a triangular, well, I mean a square pyramid, that is. Alright, so let me draw a shape. You tell me what this shape is. Alright. What do you think that is? It'll help if I move up the camera, right? There we go. What is that shape? It's a triangular prism. And again, it's not a pyramid because, remember I said with a pyramid, only one face or less can be a non-triangle, right? So in this case, we have a left and a back side that's not a triangle. That's more than one. So we do have this left side, but we do have a right side. We do have a front. We have a back. You can't see the back. I can put this dotted line to show, right? And then, of course, we have our base, our bottom. So how many faces do we have? How many faces? We have 5. 5 faces. And how many vertices? How many vertices? 1, 2, 3. There's 3 there. And 1, 2, and the other one we can't see. So we have 6 vertices. So how can we get the surface area of this object? First, we need to know the height of the triangle. So let's just put a dotted line. Let's say the height was 6. You need to know a base. Let's say the base is 8. And then I'll put I'll make this over here. Let's get rid of this triangular prism. We know it's a triangular prism. We can get rid of it now, right? Put a 10 there, and we'll put a 5 there. See if you have everything you need to get the surface area. Get the area of each face, and then add them together. What did you get? Okay, so let's try it over here. Well, look at this side right here. This left side. It's 10 by 5. So the left side is 50. That means the right must be 50. The base is 10 by 8. So the base, or the bottom, is 80. And now we need to know the triangles. There's two of them. One triangle is 8 and 6. 8 times 6 divided by 2. So one triangle is 24, but both of them together, we'll say two triangles, would be 48. Add that together and there's our surface area. So the surface area is what? Add them all up, right? 228 units squared. So we did a triangular prism, a rectangular prism, and we did a square pyramid. Those are our three for today. Great job.